Hey guys, it's Riley, back with another craft video, and this week we're going to be making our own notebooks or sketchbooks. And before I get started, I just want to tell you guys as a reminder, please, please, please do not go out to any store or in public to get any of these materials. Only use what you have at home. And I'll be talking about different substitutes that you can be using throughout this craft. But pretty much, we're just going to be doing a simple, no stitching, book binding this week, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, here's what you will need. Now that we have all of our materials set and ready to go, let's get started. So first, what you're going to want to do is take the paper of your choice. What I have here is some sketchbook paper. If you have lined notebook paper at home or even printer paper, construction paper works the same way too. Use what you got at home, and you're pretty much just going to take a ruler and measure out double of what you want your page size to be. And in my case here, I have a few little pages that I'm going to get started, but what I did for me was I just folded this page in half, like this, creased it, ripped it, so it's a nice clean line, just like that, and then I took the half of the sheet, I measured how long it was, and mine is 11 inches. So when I fold it in half, just like this, crease it, but don't cut it because this is going to be your pages for your book. And so now my pages are going to be 5.5 inches wide. So when I open it, that's the length of my original piece. And so what you're gonna do is however big you want your sheets, you're just gonna make it double, fold it in half, and do this multiple times so you get a stack that looks like this. I have a whole bunch of these little guys stacked up, and what I did was I stacked them until they're about 1/2 inch thick, and then if you don't have these little clips at home, what you can actually do is take 2 already made books and put your stack, make sure it's nice and flat, flush, even, and then put another one on top, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. So here I have my glue and my paintbrush ready to go. If you do not have a paintbrush ready to you can use your finger, or you can even use like a Q-tip, anything you have at home. But what I'm gonna do is take my stack, and the part where it's folded, not the loose pages, part where it's folded, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the end of my paintbrush. Let's see if I can open it here. Just like that. And then on the parts where it's all folded, you're gonna brush the glue right on that bind. And what this is going to do is it's gonna bind all of those pages together so you can make that book without sewing or anything like that. And it's important to have a Elmer's type glue or even a tacky glue. A lot of people who already do bookbinding have like a specific glue that is really flexible, because since this isn't there's no sewing involved with this, you're gonna want something that's gonna make it easier for you to open and close that book without that binding breaking or causing you some complications. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue to brush that glue on that bind, and I'm gonna do it maybe 3 or 4 layers. Wait for each layer to dry in between, because then it's going to make it a lot easier for you to construct this book. But I'm gonna do that really quick, and I'll be right back. And just a quick tip, if you're impatient like me, you can also use a hair dryer in between each layer so you can dry it quicker and get this craft done faster. But I'm just continuing to do layer after layer. Each page is getting coated in that glue and keeping everything nice and together. And then after you're done, See how this is kind of wider than down here because the clamps are down here? That's actually where the stacking this in between a couple of books are going to come in handy. But I do have an extra clip where I'm going to put in the middle, but you don't have to do that if you don't have that available to you. But once I'm done, I'm going to wait for everything to dry and then we're going to move on to the next step. Alright, so now that that is done, everything is dried, and we can take these clamps off now or take them out between your books, whichever way you used. And as you can see, it will open up to a nice book. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the cover. And what you're going to use for that is some thin cardboard. What I did was I took the backing off of an old notebook, and you're going to actually take the little booklet you made, put it on the cardboard, and measure out a little bit over your front and back page. So as you can see, right here I made a little line, and whoops, and it goes a little bit over what my pages are. So what you're going to do is you're going to do that for both the front and back cover. Mark it out, take your scissors, and cut 2 pieces for your one cover. As you can see, we have 2 sides for our one cover. And now what you're going to do is take your decorative paper. I have wrapping paper, but what you can use is totally up to you. A lot of people I've seen used even drawings of their own stuff, different types of, boxes. Like I've seen people use cereal box covers before, and you can actually use the covers just like this. You can leave it blank if you want to, but I am going to decorate it a little bit, and I have this little butterfly wrapping paper, and I actually cut it to size to what my full open book cover will be. So what I'm going to do is just simply place my cardboard down, and what I did was I made sure that there was enough space in the middle of my decorative paper to fit this about I think it was a 1/2 inch maybe, I want to say. Yep, about a 1/2 inch space in the middle of my paper, so I can place that in the middle so this doesn't interfere. Because what's going to happen is if anything is interfering with this middle part, your book is not going to open flat. See how this opened nice and flat? So if anything is interfering with this, it's not going to do that. But what I did was take this, and I actually have a little bit of overhang for each side. I'll do opposite colors so you can see. And so what that's going to do is so we can fold that over so we have a nice neat edge. But what I'm going to do first is glue each side of my cover to the book itself. I'm just going to put it right on there, right up to the edge of where I glue, just like that. Glue the pages down, and I'll be back in just a sec. So after you're done putting your 2 covers on your front page and your back page, you can leave it like this. If you want to leave it just like that, that's totally fine. Your book, your craft, you do what you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this wrapping paper to decorate my cover. And so what you're going to want to do is lay it nice and flat. And what I did was I actually cut my paper to where there will be a little bit of overhang, just like that, all around my book. And so what you're actually going to do is take glue and spread it all on this front and back cover, but you're going to want to put the paper on while this book is closed. So what I'm going to do is do the front, stick the paper down, do the back, stick the paper down. Leave it as a whole piece so that spine is not going to be interfered with, so it can open correctly. Now that you have your thin layer of glue on the first cover, you're going to take your decorative paper, lay it down flat on your surface, and stick it right down to your cardboard, just like this. You're going to stick it right down, smooth it out, and make sure everything is nice and glued onto your cover. Okay, so after you're done sticking that down, you're going to fold it up. Make sure it's nice and flat. It might be a little bit wrinkly. That's just because, you know, that's how glue works with paper sometimes. But as a reminder, you're not going to have glue on the inside where your spine is, because that would interfere too much with how your book opens. But as you can see, still opens nice and flat. Everything's working the way it should be. So now you still have that overhang that I talked about earlier. What you can do is you can either trim that away, or you can fold it over just like this in a way to where your edges of your cardboard right here are not going to be seen. So I'm going to do that really quick, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my scissors, and at actually each corner of this wrapping paper I'm going to go like this. Match it up with my book and snip it at an angle just like that. And I'm going to do that with every corner on this book. So after you're done snipping the little corners just like this, what you can actually do now is put glue on the inside of your cover right here, and right here, and start folding your edges in a way to where it's going to lay nice and flat and look nice and even. So now that I have this first edge folded inwards, you're going to find that it's going to be a little bit difficult to fold these down since you didn't cut anything up here. I'm going to fix that really quick. So what you're going to do is take it to where that fold meets, snip it just like that, and now you should be able to fold it and stick it down with the glue that you just put. Just like that. And so now you're going to have these little edges. What you can do, you can trim them, or you can just fold them right in like that and stick them down, and it'll be great. So really quick, I'm going to show you a little trick. After you're done folding these edges down and making sure they're all stuck down, what you can do to hide these edges here is actually take the next sheet in your book, put glue all over this back side, and stick it down. And I already did it over here, so you can see what I mean. And it looks nice and neat and like a normal notebook would. So I'm going to do that to the other side here, and we'll wrap it up. Okay, so before we end this, I'm going to do one last little finishing touch. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to choose to. So some of you may be wondering, you know, that might be a little bit iffy since that's just paper on that spine. So what you can do is actually use a little bit of tape. I have black duct tape here that I'm going to cut to size and line that back just to give it a little bit of reinforcement. You can use masking tape, clear tape, anything that you have at home, but I'm just going to cut this little bit to size, reinforce that back, and we'll have our notebook. So after reinforcing your back, if you choose to do so, you're pretty much done. Now you have this little sketchbook or notebook to enjoy. You can write in it, you can draw in it, do whatever you want, but you made it, and you did it, and it looks great. So now, just keep an eye out for next week for more craft videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you had a really great time. Please remember to stay safe, stay home, and stay healthy. But till next time, I'll catch you later, guys. See ya.